Hi, Tim McClone, McClone Brothers. Thanks for watching my channel. I appreciate it. Remember, self-isolation does not mean hibernation. Get out there and live your life. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs right now. Well, a little moderation's all right, but don't grab the bottle of scotch or beer and drink beer all day and play video games and eat potato chips. You got to stay focused right now in your business, or if you're working for someone, get that to-do list, prepare the night prior, work on your goals, work on your mind, your fitness. These are epic times to be alive, and you want to get on the field, in the game. A lot of people feel they're priced out. I think you can get priced in. Yes, it's the haves and the haves-mores. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Cloward and Piven, problem, solution, reaction. One of the greatest wealth transfers in American history. Everyone's talking about the Great Reset. We've had many resets throughout American history. This is nothing new. So you don't need to hit the panic buttons, my point. If you understand history, you would approach this with more of a level head. And I think that's important, what you need to do right now. Yes, it's bad what's going on right now, and it is a reset, but it's nothing new. We could go throughout history and talk about all the major resets, but let's just go recent history and we'll talk about three major resets that were the greatest wealth transfers in history of America. Just some pearls to think about before I delve into it, and then we'll, at the end, give you some ideas of maybe where to put some of your money. But top 10% of Americans own 84% of the stock market. Top 10%. Top 10% of Americans own 80% of the wealth. 80% of the wealth. I think you can get a piece of that. A lot of my friends will say, well, I'm priced out. I would argue you're priced in. You can get into it. If you're prepared, you do your research and you read. You don't sit in front of the TV and don't pout. It's the climb up the mountain. Life's a pain in the ass. And you got to work your ass off and struggle. I have those days every other day. It's just my mindset. But you got to keep pushing. And the funnest part of life is the climb to the top. When you get to the top, that's when you make mistakes. You start drinking, you need 5 therapists. I always want to be pushing and never be satisfied. That's what you got to do. The climb to the top, the struggle is what it's all about. Our parents, what they went through in life, come on. This is nothing. This is a piece of cake. So, what was the first reset? Recent times, 1987. Stock market crash in 1987. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, what did it do? 22.6 drop. Incredible. Black Monday. I remember my dad in Hawaii, sitting on the beach. I think he was at the pool. He said he dropped his drink and almost fell in the pool. So everyone was crying about that time. All those insurance agents, they were insurance agents. They got into be stockbrokers and made millions of dollars. If you were alive in that time, working in that time, those early 80s, they made a ton of money. And during that reset, that was the first major wealth transfer, and people got rich off that, 100%. If you were in the know, you probably bought an island. So that was the first major one, October 19th, 1987. So the economic boom of the 90s was a bust for the middle class. If you look at 2001 to 2002, we had the tech bubble, internet bubble, and this is the second great reset. 2001, 2002, you saw a sharp decline in the stock market. Some would call it the internet bubble bursting. You had sharp decline in stock markets across Canada, the US, Asia, in Europe. Massive declines. What is the key takeaway? What's the one thing that all that led to? After 2001, the Fed lowered interest rates, the kiss of death below 1%. They lowered interest rates below 1% in 2001. So, this, in my opinion, was the end of the middle class, the final death blow. As I've always said, there's never been a middle class. It's a name someone came up with at a round table to make people feel good. They're not too low, they're not too high. They'll be happy, they won't cause any ruckus. There's always been a pauper clerical class, and the haves and the haves-mores. It's just being expanded right now because of the COVID, and this was the first big expansion of it. 1987, October, stock market crash, followed by 2001, the tech stock market crash decline, which led to 1% interest rates. Now, what did the low rates lead to? A boom in subprime mortgages. Remember the CDOs, collateralized debt obligations? I remember I was living in my house in 2006, living on top of the world in Orange County. It's like, this isn't going to end. I'm house rich, got money flying all over the place. So 2001 led to the subprime mortgages, and we know what happened with that. So this is key. Between 2011 and 2017, some of the world's largest private equity firms and hedge funds snatched up over $36 billion of everyday American real estate. They got it for pennies on the dollar. So your new landlord, guess who it is? Wall Street. Wall Street 100%. So they got the deal. So 2001 subprime, the haves and the haves mores came in, snatched it all up. Banks didn't help anyone out with all those foreclosures. What happened? 3.1 more million homes went into foreclosures. Wall Street received bailouts. Who bought the foreclosed homes? The banks. $36 billion. They set up those programs. I was trying to help people with those programs when I was working for a Fortune 500 company. I remember those. And I helped fill out all this paperwork. They would lose the paperwork. And some guy just pulled me aside and he goes, you know, you've helped this guy out 2 times with the paperwork. It's going to tell you they're not going to help you. It doesn't behoove us to do it. We got the money. We're going to keep it. And they didn't help it. I know one person that got it, and it was a weird rate, and it trickled. It was only for a little while. So they absolutely royally screwed people. They double dipped, and the banks picked up $36 billion of real estate at pennies on the dollar. The second great reset. Your new landlord, Wall Street. So the COVID transfer now, the COVID wealth transfer, I think it's worse than the other two combined, actually. Why? The whole world economy has been shut down. Supply chains have been shut off. They weren't shut off in 87. They weren't shut off in 2001. And what's the end result of this? Millions of Americans are going to go into poverty. 8+ million, 10+ million are going to fall into poverty. Epic times to be alive. This will end the middle class. I think it's going to be the final death blow, if you want to call it the middle class. I mean, the elites on March 23rd, they had a secret meeting at the New York Fed when all this went down behind closed doors. If you remember that, they went into a secret meeting and they put all this together. And, we can use this opportunity, this crisis, never let a good crisis go to waste. So they're going nuclear with infinite printing, QE infinity. The presses are on 24/7. What's that going to lead to? Inflation. I was talking about inflation in April, May. You just can't keep doing this. You can't keep interest rates this low. Interest rates are going to be kept low for a while. So, but, we're printing all this money, putting in the trillions of dollars into the market. It's just negative. It's going to have a negative effect. And we'll get into some of that when I talk about what areas to maybe look in and buy in with this digital stuff, what's going on. So I've always said, so those are the 3 transfers. 87, 2001, and now the COVID reset. So how are you going to prepare for this COVID reset? What are you going to do? Everyone's got a deer in the headlights. What are you going to do? What are you going to buy? What are you going to focus on? So I'm 70-30. 70 in real estate, 30% in the market. I believe, real estate's like boulders. Stocks are like water. I like to be able to go to touch my asset. If I want to go to Apple, I got to drive over to the corporation and look at their building. I want to touch my own asset. I believe in real estate. Real estate is king. Absolutely 100%. It depends on some people say, multifamily, because if you have a tenant move out, you got a 4-unit, the other tenant's covered. I get that. But some parts of the country, single family works better. Just depends. Some 4-unit buildings, 12-unit buildings work better. But like I said, real estate's like boulders. Stocks are like water. I like stocks. My brother's very good at it, one of the best. And I just listen to him. I listen to what he says, but I read about it. I find stocks very interesting, and I study it. And I get all these analyst reports from my brother and other companies, investment bankers, and I find it very interesting. But it makes me nervous. And I've been flipping properties for a long time, and it's something I know, and I feel good about it, and it's my comfort zone. But you got to go outside your comfort zone. So You know, where do I think you want to put your money right now? I'm sticking to my guns. Number one, real estate. Real estate, Section 8 housing. I talked about this before. Joe Biden started under Obama. It's expanding under Joe Biden. You don't necessarily have to go after Section 8, but I think you should get some in your portfolio. Joe Biden's going to be expanding to Section 8. I'm hoping he's just not going to throw money at the problem. He's going to do it strategically. We can only hope. But Section 8 housing is going to be expanded across America under the Joe Biden administration. So that's free money from the government for your rental property, and tenant pays a portion. Usually, if the tenant doesn't pay you, the government's going to be able to cover. You're going to be able to cover the nut on the mortgage. I've paid cash for a few of them, so I got guaranteed money coming in every month. I know on that day that money is guaranteed, unlike if I have a regular tenant not on Section 8 housing. So I still believe real estate, hard assets, number one. That's where you want to put your money. We've talked about it in other videos. Just want to go over this briefly. Okay, so I talked about it earlier. Digital currency. What's the number one disruptive currency in the market right now? Everyone's talking about Bitcoin. Okay? People's money. Fed can't touch it, right? That's what everyone's saying. Bitcoin is the fastest horse right now, already outpacing every other major asset class in the world. Here's what gives me heartburn. From all the research and people I talk to and my own common sense, you want to put about 1% of your assets total into Bitcoin. I put 0.5, half that. I bought an ETF. I also bought from Coinbase, but other countries right now, and they've been testing it for a year, China is testing 4 digital currencies. The current Fed, and there's research, EU chair, head of central bank, they're saying they don't believe in this currency. So they're testing their own currencies right now in China in 4 cities. The Fed is seeing how this is playing out with Bitcoin. So they're getting into the game. Could the dollar go away? Could there be a digital currency? Absolutely, 100%. I know a lot of people in Bitcoin that lost their butts when it crashed last time. So I didn't know enough about it, but I've been researching it the last couple of years, and I put some coin into it. Not a lot. I wanted to get into the game. I got into the game. You know, my brother got into the game, and then he kind of sold a little early, and it still went up recently. But it's a little nerve-wracking with that. But I think you do got to play. But I know more people than not that have lost their money. So I tell you, you need to be careful. It's an interesting space, but other countries are testing digital currency. The Fed is watching this very closely because they're going to be doing their own currency. Get ready. Something's going on in the digital space. And it's interesting. But I think you want to put about 1%, a little less of your assets in Bitcoin. It's a viable investment, but be careful. And what turned me off was the last crash. A lot of people, I can speak of like 11 people I know that lost money. I know some of them made some money. It's just very interesting how it works, and I didn't know enough about it back then. But what I do know now, I feel somewhat confident with it, and I put a little money into it. So that's a space you want to look into. Number 3, it's really expensive right now, but gold. You want to put some money in gold. I put money in gold when it was $1,200. I didn't buy a lot, but I bought some. And if you do your research throughout history, the most powerful families in the world, they own trillions of dollars of gold. So you want to be in that space. I put more money into number 4. We'll get to that. But gold, pretty high. Something you want to do, put a little money into it. I put some money into it years ago. Put a little more money into it last year. But I got a little cake there. But it's something you want to look at right now is put a little money in gold for sure. Number 4, I bought silver over 2.5 years ago. I think it's a hot space to be in. I just keep putting a little money every now and then into silver. I've been doing that the last 4 years. Don't even look at it. Just keep pouring it in there. I got a little bit of money in there, but that's another space you want to look at. I own a couple gold miner stocks. Number 5, gold miner stocks. Look at gold miner stocks. I got some good leads from investment bankers on that. That's a little more affordable than buying gold outright. So gold miner stocks. And, crash-proof investments for 2020, dividends. Look for stocks you're going to get dividends on. I'll do a video on one where I'm going to give you 5 stocks, no charge. I'm not selling anything. 5 stocks that I think are good dividend stocks to buy into right now, going into 2021 to 2022. But, cash-proof investments, that I started buying like 5 years ago. I bought some more before the COVID crash in 2020, are cash-proof dividend stocks. You just keep reinvesting that money. So, and I think, see, that's 6. Number 7, how can you, learn? Hang out with successful people. Hang out with rich people and learn. Don't be jealous. Don't be naive. Look at them and learn. I always hang out with people, or I try, that are more successful than me in maybe one area or all areas. It doesn't make me insecure. I know what I got. There's always someone that's going to have more, but you can always learn. And you can always learn, even if you have a one-on-one conversation with someone and you're like, wow, that meeting didn't go well. You take away what not to do in your next meeting. So, I always learn from every meeting that I have, and I improve my skill set. But I always want to hang out with people that can teach me. I know a guy that gave me some lessons on probate. I didn't know anything about probate. And I'll say it, I didn't know much about probate, over a year ago. And that's an interesting space, and I enjoy it. Living trust and learning about all that. And I've been studying that. But there's always something you can learn. I'm always trying to learn. And if I hear someone's really good at a space, I want to learn them. I know people that avoid those people because they're jealous. They're there for a reason. They got their space. Everyone's got their quirks. I'm a very serious person. I heard, oh, he's too serious. I can't learn from that guy. I can mold my personality because overall, I'm a serious person. So I relate to people like that who are very serious about what they do. And that's great. I'm many different people. I'm many different personalities. So I have no problem molding in different situations. If I'm dealing with an amiable, a driver, an analytic, because I'm all those. So learn, be around successful people, try to seek out rich people in real estate, in stocks, in Bitcoin. But like I said, I'll just go, hard assets, real estate, that's where my heart is. That's number 1. Owning Bitcoin, 1% of your total net assets. I wouldn't last 0.5, makes me nervous, but I think it's a viable deal right now. But just be aware, if you're studying what's going on throughout history and the Chinese are testing a digital currency, the Fed is watching this very closely. And they have a negative vibe about it, the central banks, and that makes me nervous. Could they turn it off? They got a lot of power, those central banks. So it's a disruptive currency, so you need to be careful. You're disrupting the central banks. So gold, that's a safe asset to buy into. Expensive, but I got into it earlier. Look into gold. Silver number 4. Gold mining stocks number 5. Dividends number 6. And the easiest thing to do is seek out people that are successful. Attend Zoom meetings. I try to attend them all the time when I'm not out and about, whether it's through the Realtor Association or investor groups. I'm always trying to learn. There's someone on there that's going to give me some insight. So you're the average of the 5 people who you spend your time with. Think about who said that. I wrote that down and I've had that for years. You're the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. So that's it. Keep pushing. And this is an opportunity, a great reset. See it as an opportunity. There's been a lot of great resets throughout history. You don't want to be on the sidelines in this. You want to be in the game, and you can make some money and get through it. Take care.